Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back with the next part of our Learning C# tutorial, and today we're going to move away from our last project, which was our 3D platformer game, and we're going to go ahead and move into a new project, just so we can get a more fluent understanding of how C# works in Unity. So I've gone ahead and created this new project. It's called Line of Sight, and the idea for it is we're going to make a, I mean, everyone's probably seen these type of games before, but like your 2D like stick sniping games, like your sharpshooter games, things like that. There's a whole bunch of them out there, and so I've created a new project, set it default to 2D, and then I've gone ahead and imported in some assets. Obviously, this one there's a lot of 3D assets as well. However, we're only going to be viewing it in 2D for this project, and I will probably go ahead and upload this project as well once, maybe in progress or once we're done. Like I probably will do the same for our 3D platformer, but for now let's just go ahead and get started. So let's open up Visual Studios, and if you don't know how to get it working with our the project here, you first have to create a script, any script. I can't remember if I talked about this last time. I called it Overlay Manager. Then you just got to sync mono develop project in order to get the projects working correctly, and then we can go ahead and begin programming in our Visual Studios. So the most basic part of a stick shooter is getting the overlay to aim at where your mouse is. So we've already kind of talked about how to convert from mouse to world position before in some previous tutorials, so we can go ahead and jump right in. So there are a few different ways. We can go ahead and use a sprite in 3D world space, or we can use the GUI feature for 2D. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use the GUI one because I think it's a little bit easier. So let's make a void on GUI, and we'll do, and this way we don't have to convert from our screen pixel space to our world space. We can just go ahead and use the pixel, the pixel space natively. So what we want to do is, up here, we'll do a new property, like public texture 2D, which is another built-in Unity engine, and we'll do overlay. Now, eventually, we're going to go ahead and do something similar to like what we did in the improvement to the player combat script in the last episode, where we made a whole another class for weapons. We can do the same here, where we have one for each weapon has a different overlay, a different sound, a different, whatever. But for now, let's go ahead and just keep it simple until we build up on this little framework here. And what we want to do is draw this GUI overlay where our mouse is. So we'll do a GUI dot draw texture, new rect, and just to keep this clean, actually, I'm going to make a new method, and we're going to call it get mouse rect. And then let's put in our overlay. Obviously, there are some overflows here. If I press down on the down and up on the arrow keys, you can go ahead and look at your what are they called? Overflow methods. I think it's overflow. I can't quite remember. But basically, there's optional parameters we can add in here besides these two. The first one is our scale mode, which you can use. So we'll do scale mode dot. We'll do stretch to fill. So our texture will stretch to fill the rectangle instead of cropping or something like that. Bool alpha blend. That is a boolean, whether true or false, if we want to be able to contain alpha pixels, which means see-through pixels in our GUI layer, and we do want that, so it's because it's an overlay. So we'll do true. Okay. Now let's go ahead and make this private rect get mouse rect. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do a return new rect, and then inside here we want its position away from the X. So we'll do X, Y, oops, width, height. Now the width and height are easy, so we'll do those first. We're just gonna do our overlay dot width and our overlay dot height. So the rectangle will always be as long and as high as the overlay texture. Okay. Now, obviously, we're going to change this because, you know, if we import HD overlays, like I think the one I imported from a previous project, it's pretty high. Yeah, well, yeah, it's a little bit too big. So what we're going to have to do is add in later an an override for these, so we can put in our own values, because it will stretch to fill this. But for now, we'll just keep this. Then our x will move up here. We'll do float x equals input dot mouse position dot x. Now this will, the way a rectangle works, this is the amount of space from the left. However, to the player, that's where the top left of the texture will be, and we want it to be in the center. So it'll have to be the x mouse position minus, and then we'll do set of parentheses, and we'll do overlay dot width divided by 2f. So what this will do is the mouse's x position minus half of the texture, so the left side of the texture. Okay, and then same thing for the y. We'll do input dot mouse position dot y. Now the mouse position dot y is a little bit different. For a rectangle, it goes from top down. For the input mouse position, it goes from bottom up. So what we have to do is do input dot mouse position dot y, and we want to do a plus overlay dot height divided by 2f. What that will do is take the mouse's position dot y and then add half the height to it. So let's say the input mouse position down here will be let's say 10, and we're adding the texture, which is 5. Then the value of y will be 15, which will be somewhere around up here for the actual thing. So in order for this to work the way it should, we have to do a screen.height first minus that input.mouse position.y. So this right here converts the mouse y to the rectangle y, and then we're just going to go ahead and we'll switch back to a subtract overlay.height. Okay. Obviously we can clean this up a bit and not reference this, but I'm pretty sure that's a variable and not a method. So we'll leave it like that for now. And let's go ahead and give this a go, actually. Okay, delete this guy. Go ahead on our main camera, let's add in the overlay manager. Let's slap on our texture, hit play, and there we go. We now have our overlay matching where our mouse is. Now, in the next video, I'm going to end it quick here. We want to hide the mouse, and we also want a black background where our mouse is not, or where the overlay is not. So, like, let's say I'm aiming down here. At the left and top of the crosshairs, where you can see through, it should be black. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time.